I'm going to show you how to do the Cymbidium orchid. I'm using the Cymbidium Orchid Cutter, some veining tools, and I've got here on the table a 26 gauge wire and some 28 gauge wires. A little bit of, choose your colour. I shall start off with the very centre. Take a pea-sized piece of paste, roll it into a bowl and then into a cone. Now I'm going to wire this straight away. I've got some edible glue on the side here. Hold the wire quite close to where you're going to put it in and put into your centerpiece to make the throat. I'm going to put this onto a soft pad. And with my bone tool, I'm just going to open it up. Now I'm going to turn it around, just like so. It's just shaping it and thinning out the edges, like so. I put this, it's like bend it over your finger a little. Take your knife and scriber and make some marks in the top to create your centerpiece. Now you really should let this dry for about 12 to 24 hours if you can. Okay, so I'll pop that aside and prepare the outer petals. Now with an orchid you always have a head, legs and arms. So if you have a look, you have the wider one, that's going to be the two arms. You have a narrower one, and that's going to be the head and the two legs. I don't need to have a center vein to put my wire in, but if you have a board that makes a center vein, by all means use it to make it easier for you to wire, to put your wire in. So we'll roll. Now I'm going to pop this on my foaming pad and I'm going to vein. I like to vein, just quickly vein the whole lot as opposed to individually veining what I've got. It just makes it a little quicker for me to do. Onto there. Always take off your soft pad and put back onto your hard surface before cutting. When you're cutting out, put your cutter on, put your fingers, don't put them here, put them inside. Make sure that you get a nice clean cut. And now we're just cutting 3 more. And 3. Try not to use a squeaky table when you're doing it. Okay. When you've got these prepared, just place them on your pad. Now you will see there's a pointed side and a rounded side to what you've got here. I personally wire the rounded side. And you can see it more clearly when I put it on the pad, just to get them ready. Rounded, pointed. Okay, I've got here my little cornflower and my dabber duster. I like to keep this beside me because I like to keep my hands dry for this part. Take your wires. Now when I say I'm going to show you with my glue, dip into your glue. I mean dip tiny touch and put it on your hand. It's to really put some glue on and take it off again. Put your petal right to the tip of your finger and hold with your thumb. And into, I twist that wire. Now this is my 28 gauge wire. Now the wire is in up to here. Just peel it off and put it down. Again. And you can see why I use my cornflower. Make sure there's no little ridges in your wire from where you've cut it. So keep nice clean wires and twist in. Sometimes that paper comes off your wire and it really does get in your way. So just discard that one and use one that you make sure it's not unraveling. And in they go. See, now, as I'm doing this, these are veined already. And so when I do it that way, that means I don't have to put the veiner on where the wire is into it. And therefore it doesn't disturb the wire. Now I really think with these flowers you really need to have time to leave things to dry off before you start putting them together. Okay. Now I'm going to do these two first. These are our two arms. And all I want to do is soften this. I don't want to frill this. I just want to soften. So we've got, I don't hold onto the wire, I just soften. I'm going to pick up and just very slightly cup like so. And it'll turn. And then put these aside on your flower drying stand to dry off. Get them just ready. Now we have, this is going to be the head. Now this is the side that's veined. So I'm going to soften from the tip of the wire to the tip of the petal. I'm going to turn my bone tool and then just drag it this way. So you can see what happens. My petal curls in like this. And then very gently with your finger and thumb, just bend that wire like. You want to curve it, you don't really want to bend it inside your petal. So it dries off at this angle. Now I dry mine off where I lay them on the side here and they will dry with just onto your table and curving against your forming pad. The next two I'm going to do, soften each one. Always soften from your wire to the tip. It's easier. Now I'm going to turn them over. So that means the vein is on the other side. Then I'm taking my veining tool. Now I'm going to turn this veining tool slightly to the right and then slightly to the left. So slightly to the right and vein in, and slightly to the left and vein in. Now when you pick these up and turn them, I'm just going to just curve this, curve it. And now I'm going to dry this off like so that my foot is sticking out like this. Again, just put them on your table or on whatever you've prepared to allow these to dry off. Curve. After a little while, this just becomes, especially if you're doing about 50 of these, it just becomes second nature to bend your wires and so on. Okay, now you've let the center dry off a little, your throat. So I'm now going to prepare the next part of your throat. A little bit of paste and roll. With this one, you're going to cut this out first. Make sure it moves on your board. Fingers in and cut. Then you're going to put it on your pad, your forming pad. Then you put your veiner on. So you center that, vein, and take from this side. And just use a little craft knife to help us remove. I have to tell you how hot it is in this room. Okay, so we've got it all. Let me just tidy them over. Now, first thing you're going to do, soften all the edges. So we take our bone tool and soften and the edge. Now on just this little piece, if you look, take that very edge of that tool and I'm frilling the edge here. turn this around and then turn your tool around into that one and into that one. Now I'm going to use the bigger side into that one and into that one, and you can see what it does. It curls and curves everything in for you. I'm going to take a little of my glue and come back to my throat, center of my throat. Now you can do it two ways. You can glue this part or you can glue this part. If you glue here, it allows you to have control of how far it goes up. So I only bring it where it's 3/4 the way up. Don't forget and put a little piece on the bottom here. I'm going to very slightly take this and just hook this back slightly, and you can see the shape of this now. Onto here, finger and thumb, put this open side down and be patient with yourself here. Hold on, and on it goes, like so. Now you're going to just leave this to dry again, and then I'm just going to hang it on my flower drying stand to dry. When all of your petals and everything that you've got has dried off, you want to take a piece of tape. Now I put together and then I do my colouring up. So I'm going to put my little pieces together. Always line everything up where you want it, where it's easy for you to see. You can see right and left sides of your feet and your two arms. You can use your tweezers to do this, or you can use, I just use my nail. It depends on how dry your items are. If you're a bit fussy and you're a bit worrying now, use your tweezers to do it. So you're moving them into the position that you want to wire these together in. This one goes backwards. Okay, so you've got your centerpiece all ready and dried, like so. And I always start down here. Start down far. Don't go up all the way. Now I'm going to bring this is the head, one in, then I do the arms. I like to put one in and then bring the tape around, so you have more control. You'll be able to feel which one is your center one by the thickness of your wire on the bottom, and so therefore you'll be able to keep it where you keep the shape together when as you're putting them together. And round you go. And now there's the feet. One in and two in. Very hard when if your flower isn't dry, if your petals aren't dry, you've got to be really careful with them. When I put these together, to make sure that everything is tight in here, I just take each one and just tug at it just a little weeny tad to make sure that I've got it all nice and neat into each other, and it doesn't look like I've got lots of wires on the top or in the center of my flower really. And bring the tape up, bring it down to the bottom, and there's your flower finished. And then colour up as you wish. And you know what it's like, artistic license, you can colour up to whatever colour you really wish. If you do these in white, you can have them every colour under the rainbow. They're so pretty. And that's your Cymbidium orchid.